Movies. The average person can be inspired by them. They can make us laugh. Movies can keep us on the edge of our seat, and so much more. Maddie's Movie Mix is a podcast for movie enthusiasts of all kinds. We hope you enjoy the show.
Wait. Matt Logan!
Yes, we both had the same problem. You.
Listen. You smell something?
What does Robert Pattinson, Locks of Love, and Matt Logan have in common?
Logan. They all could be the Wolverine.
That might work.
Just kidding. Robert Pattinson could not be the Wolverine.
So how does the Locks of Love...
They all have hair?
Yeah. I don't know what the connection is, but when
there's something. I feel it.
But there is. I need cheerleaders.
Oh, okay.
I need some cheerleaders. So
I don't have any pom-poms over here.
I'm in. I'm gonna do the Locks of Love. I'm gonna try really hard.
Is that where you grow your hair out for 6 and then you donate the 6 inches?
Yeah, I think it's 12.
Oh, is it the full 12?
I think so. I don't know. I have
You're
to
gonna have 12 inches of hair?
Literally, I know.
Is it gonna be from your beard?
No. That's that. I couldn't do that. I could not handle that. But I figured, I might as well ask for some cheerleaders from people because I think I'm going to do it. I was at an airport. Surprise. But a little girl came up and said she liked my hair because I was kind of growing my hair out to do a hard reset, so to speak, on my hair because I always cut it really short.
Yeah, you have your own.
And
the world is your
right. And so I'm thinking I'm going to cut my hair this weekend, and
and Robert Pattinson had really long hair in this film. There's a connection.
And I'm thinking hey, maybe I could pull it off and still, Well,
I'll be honest, Robert Pattinson could not pull it off. That was the one part I really did not like about this movie.
No, he couldn't, but I mean he could for the film. The character,
yeah,
right. I mean, it made
Bruce
sense
Wayne.
because of how dark he.
Yeah, do you think they were going the full emo route? Is that why he had the long hair?
I think so.
I didn't like it.
So I'm not planning on doing the emo, but I need some cheerleaders. So cheer me on. I'm gonna really try to make that happen.
I'll bring the ruler each week. We
cool
can let you guys know as the audience about how many inches we are centimeters.
It's gonna be a while. It'll take me maybe even a couple years, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a good chance.
But I have to.
I don't know the science. You know who probably does? Alfred.
Probably.
Or Gollum.
What did you think of Andy in this?
I liked him.
Did you?
Yeah.
I like him. I think. He does a nice job for sure.
Here's what I'll say about most Batman or Alfred castings: is that I've never hated any of them. I've enjoyed most of them.
I didn't enjoy. I've literally only watched it once when.
Clooney, Keaton.
No, Ben.
Affleck? You didn't like Affleck?
I liked him. I didn't like
Batfleck? Oh, you didn't like the Alfred?
What's that? What's his name?
I don't remember the actor's name.
I didn't like it. I didn't like him.
He had more of an engineering.
It was
which
just
was different.
it was just I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't. It wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he did a good job. He's not my favorite.
No.
But he did a really good job. It's interesting, spoiler, he might get blown up in the film.
Well, you said he might. Is that really a spoiler? It's an action film.
It's true.
But the spoiler is he did get blown up.
He might die, though.
I don't think he's going to die.
He might.
No.
It's possible.
Alfred doesn't die.
It's possible. They totally set it up to be possible.
Well, anything is possible. So help me. If they do the multiverse,
they set it up poorly.
Yeah. Well,
when
I don't know if Robert Pattinson was going through some sort of Twilight phase when he was in that scene because he was not showing emotion well.
Right. He wasn't. And I think that was interesting to me too because I think part of that so he showed emotion for the kid.
Yep.
Right? That was obvious. That made a lot of sense. But they kind of set it up earlier in the film where he wasn't connected to Alfred.
That's true.
Like he should have been,
Right.
right? Like what? Maybe not should have
Well,
been.
and this is year 2 of the whole Batman thing.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting. I think it's a fun. I was talking to a lot of people about. I love the Batman. Like the Batman. Out of all the superheroes,
Show us what you have.
So I finally delved into the world of Funko Pops.
Yeah.
And so I got the Batman inspired Funko Pop from Robert Pattinson, which I really enjoy, like the leather mask and stuff. I thought it was really cool. And this is, the whole Dark Knight trilogy, but this specifically is obviously from the first one, Batman Begins. You got Scarecrow and Bruce Wayne, or Batman. So I love Batman. I have so many. I used to be able to wear a different Batman t-shirt. Like maybe this is
what's that? What do you got on?
I found this also at Hot Topic. Sponsor,
Shout out,
maybe.
I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Which I love, the whole Riddler, and like it's a 2 thing, and it says to the Batman. This is what I wore to the Batman. But he is my favorite superhero ever.
How many times have you seen it?
Well, I've only seen it once, but it might be twice by next week.
All right.
It's going to be on HBO Max already in mid-April.
I recorded it on my phone so I could No, I'm kidding.
That's very
totally.
illegal.
I know.
That's right.
I don't know how you would ever. I don't know. Whatever. It's not my.
Well,
thing.
in today's world where people can just have their phones out wherever, and there's not really any social.
Sure, it's
awareness.
not. Yeah, good point. Yeah,
I feel like you could, because what movie was I watching recently where, it was Marry Me, which is ironic because it's all about social media. But I saw some in the front row, like they weren't filming it because it was a stupid white screen that popped and you could see it a lot of the time. But like, so I think it could be easy. I think it's almost easier to do because of that.
That's a good point. Yeah. I guess I didn't think about it. Anyway,
the Batman is amazing.
We're left and right and all over the place here, I guess.
And again, what's amazing to me is that this franchise has been rebooted more times than Spider-Man, and Spider-Man gets a ton of crap for how many times it's been rebooted.
I think it gets a ton of crap personally because
I think Garfield got a lot of crap.
Yeah. I don't think it's right. It's the right kind of crap they're getting for it, though.
Right.
Like I think it's
unnecessary.
It's totally unnecessary. It's not warranted.
Right. I agree completely. But the Batman's been rebooted how many times?
Right. Just in my lifetime.
Well, I mean, in my lifetime too. Like,
yeah.
I mean, really, you have Michael. Like, there are so many, but like a lot of the Batman films. You want to talk about campy? You got Batman and Robin, where you have Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. Like, I think that's the only one that receives probably a lot of criticism, but a lot of them are like warranted as like critically acclaimed.
Yeah,
which is amazing.
That is really weird. Okay, now I have a question. The mask thing. You like the mask?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's
You're
different,
wrong, but why?
I like the leather feel of it. It was different enough.
I like the way it looked.
Yeah,
for sure.
It did seem practical,
but it's not practical either, right? It's practical for the sense of movement and how
many Batman characters are like, I hate the costume because I have no neck movement.
Right.
I'm sure he had more neck movement because, again, it looked more leathery, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, it did look a lot more leathery. I did like how that looked. It made sense from that perspective, but it some of the times he wiped out and the fights and stuff, it does nothing for your skull.
Oh, absolutely not.
I mean, nothing.
That's why he's tall. You can't reach his skull.
Oh, there you go.
It's powerful and blooming.
He's the tallest Batman, isn't he?
He's not as tall as the Lego Batman.
You got that.
Do you want to know a fun fact about the costumes?
Yes.
Zoë Kravitz, who played Catwoman, which is one of my favorite Catwomans. I thought she did a phenomenal job playing that. That's a side note that we'll talk about later. And Robert Pattinson got advice from the predecessors playing the characters, so Batman and Catwoman. So Patterson got it from Christian Bale, and Zoë Kravitz got it from Michelle Pfeiffer from Batman Returns. That makes sure that you can go in the bathroom while in the costume.
What?
Like, have the ability so it's easy to go to the bathroom, not inside.
I'm like, what?
Make sure there's room for a catheter so you can just pee well.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, I think it was more so the practicality of being able to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, go to the room.
That's right. Taking the good old pants off.
Right.
And going to the bathroom, which I thought was a funny fact.
That is really funny. So I don't see Christian Bale being all that open to communicating with somebody like that.
No.
I
don't know. I don't know a ton about him. I know he's an incredible, he is intense character actor.
Oh yeah, but he just doesn't like all the different interviews and the things that people have said about him. He's not personable at all.
That's true.
I mean,
I don't know.
Maybe, whatever, but
maybe it's the whole Batman connection.
Yeah, it could
once
be.
you have that, it's like your brothers.
The thing is he could still be doing them.
Oh, he could. Yeah.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, I agree.
I
I was upset when that trilogy. I wasn't upset when it ended. I wish they would have done. I wish the DCEU, the DC universe, would have spawned out of that.
Right.
But that's a whole different conversation.
It really is. One of the things that was real negative for me, since we're on masks in general, the opening scene where it's all that breathing through the mask and it's very clear.
Yeah.
Look, we got it in about 3 seconds.
Yeah, they did a lot of that
They
zooming.
did not need to run for 25 minutes of that breathing at the beginning of the film.
Well, there was
Clearly
a lot
not.
of issues.
I'm exaggerating.
Well, that was...
It was
when it comes to
way
my
too
issues,
long.
is that some of the
Way
scenes
too
were
long.
way too drawn out.
Yeah.
I think that was a consistent... If there was a big complaint I had about... the biggest complaint I have about it is some of the scenes were drawn out too long. They could have cut in half.
I did, however, and I specifically wrote this down because I wanted to make sure, because there's the negative and then the positive thing. But I enjoyed how they slowed the pace down in some of those shots.
I really liked in the detective parts where he was really analyzing the room.
Right. But even when he was reaching for, in the cage,
Oh, yeah.
he just
everything was a dramatic effect.
It was. I liked that.
Yeah.
Because they would be fast paced, and then he's just reaching and it's slow.
Yeah.
And it made sense that it would be slow.
And here's the whole thriller aspect of it, is that it built suspense.
It did. It really
Those
did.
long scenes.
And they did a great job with music to do that.
Oh my gosh. I tried listening to the soundtrack. Oh, I did listen to the soundtrack.
Sure.
But it made me just intense.
Yeah, totally.
It's shrill.
Yeah.
The question I have with the music is, I tried to do a deep dive of trying to figure out how many movies have the song Ave Maria in it. When it started off with that, I was like, really? You have millions. And that's not even an over-exaggeration. You have millions of choices for music. And granted, Ave Maria is a very heralded and classic, and it is a great song. But I was like, how many times have I heard this in movies or TV shows? And again, it wasn't bad. It made sense, and I can't really fully critique. It was just one of those cliches to me that was it was weird.
Yeah, it was a little weird. It was a lot weird, actually.
Yeah.
But the other thing too, and I'm not sure I'm assuming you noticed this since we're talking about the music. The Darth Vader
The Imperial March.
Imperial March, yeah. Is that what they call that one?
Dun 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 dun. Dun
yeah.
Dun, dun.
So that was very familiar in several places in the film.
Yeah. Or did
you notice that?
Well, you're talking about the whole. If you've watched the trailer, where he's walking to the penguin after the fight scene. I mean, that's I think the same the blah.
Well, no, it's like the Darth Vader march when Darth Vader is introduced.
Right.
That's very similar.
Okay.
And they actually talked about how they did do that
really?
on purpose.
Interesting.
I'm I thought that was a turnoff for me.
Yeah. For the Batman, why would you have
him?
You'll have iconic. I'll have to look into.
You'll have
further.
to look into that more because you're such a music guy. But
I love the music.
This was a heck of a cast.
Yeah.
Actor chemistry. As we're talking about this, it was fun in the theater because people at the end, the credits, Colin Farrell as the Penguin comes up. Right?
It's insane.
It's completely insane, and so I knew that going into it because I knew, but
and he looked like a demonic Richard Kind. When I saw him, I was like, oh, they could have just cast Richard Kind. But I'm probably sure he wouldn't be as good as the evil characters.
Yeah,
he'd be like more of a Danny DeVito type Penguin.
Right. No, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
But actor chemistry, what did you think?
Like I said, Zoë Kravitz is probably my favorite Catwoman. I thought she had a lot of spunk to her. She had her own personal vendettas of like, this is my moral code, which is always in the comics and in the movies is slightly off of what Batman's code is. Like, Batman doesn't kill, but Catwoman would. And so I always like the dynamic shift between Catwoman and Batman, because I think a lot of times they're fighting for the same thing with justice, and except the fact that I think Catwoman is a little more like of a Robin Hood type character.
Sure.
So I really like those two dynamics. Gordon and Batman's character. It was interesting to see of it more as a buddy relationship or respect of each other. Of like when he went to the crime scene, of like they were pretty close. Right. And had conversations, and like that was a pretty big driving relationship in the movie, which I didn't mind. I thought it was good. The Riddler was creepy. I thought the thing about the Riddler, like the typical Riddler is in like a lime green suit with a top hat and a purple bandana. But I kind of enjoyed it, and that costume would have not made sense in this movie. But I liked how it was like a darker, and the scenes that he was in, and he was just as creepy without the mask.
They did cast that guy. Yeah. I don't have his name.
Paul Dano.
Okay. They did cast him very well.
Yeah.
So I was really excited about that too, but that's interesting because I didn't like that.
Did you?
It made sense.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like going into this. So it is a very different Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, it is very
different. It's a detective style Batman.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy that they went back to.
Yeah. And so, you don't know exactly what to expect with this reboot, obviously.
Right.
But the Riddler, it made sense for this film, but the Riddler as a whole, I think they should have done something a little different.
Yeah.
I think the suit made sense, but that whole mask, you can disguise somebody and still be like dark like this movie was. And not be.
Yeah, my brother and I were talking about it was like a weird kinky.
Yes, it was way too like. Yeah, S&M type.
That's right.
Weird, Yeah. And so I didn't care much for that. And I just because it's not really the Riddler.
No, and here's my hope, and like maybe.
Here's the big thing. Let me say it. Let me finish that loop. The big thing for me is I think it sets things up to really change the characters in the future. Yeah. I don't really care for that.
Well, I hope that when he's in Arkham, spoiler, he gets caught. Spoiler, the Batman does his job like he normally does. But here's the real spoiler, so he gets caught and gets put into Arkham Asylum, which I think they're going to do a side show on that, which could be interesting. That's a whole side.
The Penguin.
And
too.
the Penguin.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that his character evolves in Arkham to be more of what it was in the comics.
Sure.
And where he could then develop that suit because he's known.
Yeah.
And so I think that could be cool to do. Again, my brother and I were talking about this because I think this is definitely starting up a new reboot. They're not going to go to Ben Affleck again.
Right.
Besides this Flash movie that's coming out, actually got pushed back, I think, to next year.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, they really just changed up because they pushed up Shazam as being now released this year, and they pushed back Black Adam.
So that I'm not quite sure how they're going to pull that Ben Affleck off.
Yeah, I don't know. The Flash is going to do a multiverse type thing.
Okay,
because
I didn't hear the story.
Well, Michael Keaton. It's my only understanding because they have Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck in that film.
Sure.
As playing Batman, they're pulling some sort of multiverse. That's a whole different topic.
Yeah.
I could get on so many. So my brother and I were talking about this.
Yeah.
And what I kind of wish, because I definitely think this is going to start up a series. Like, this isn't just going to be a standalone Batman film. I think he's going to come back and play more.
Right.
But I really wish that I liked the Penguin being introduced and not having huge, like, he was a big role, but he was not a major villain.
They definitely plugged it in
Right.
for him to become that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wish they would do that more of, like, even introducing potentially like Barbara Gordon, who ends up being like Batwoman or the Oracle, or Harvey Dent. And we're talking about, like, he doesn't even have to be full Two-Face, but like just introducing the character.
Yeah.
So that way when they do go on with the movie, like, part of the reason the one thing I really don't like about the Dark Knight trilogy is each time you watch the movie, like each Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises, is they have to do the whole the villain character arc.
Yes.
So I think it would be cool if, and somehow, and again, you never know how well a film's going to do or how many loose ends you don't want to tie up. But I think I'm hoping they do more with that with an Arkham series, and the Penguin is introducing these other characters.
And I agree with that. And the thing for me when I think about it is just how difficult it is to sign anybody these days, and in the time frame.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about from filming to theater 2.5, 3 years now.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
The one thing I'll say, though, is I think Marvel has a big draw, but the Batman in itself I think people want to be involved in that.
They do now.
Well, even like the Dark Knight trilogy, you don't think people will be like, oh, I really would like to be in a Batman project, because that one was, besides Rises, like all those.
I know Rises didn't do very well, but
right.
I
didn't
really
mind
enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I wouldn't say really enjoyed it. I would say in the trilogy, like, all of them are good. And I think Dark Knight Rises got more crap than what it deserved.
Yeah. No, I watch it, as frequently as the others.
Okay.
So, whatever. But
that's a whole different review.
Yeah.
Batman, man.
So
so many
actor
connections.
chemistry, the way they put this together, they had to draw out the filming quite a bit because they started in January of 2020.
Yeah.
And so the actors had to this was a lot more drawn out for them with the pandemic. And so I thought that they maintained that chemistry very well.
Absolutely.
Because normally they come in there and it's really intensive.
Yeah.
And then they're done.
Right.
With each other.
Yeah.
And so I thought that worked well in this. So I gave it a 4.5.
Yeah, that's what I gave it, 4.5.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of room. Again, if they continue with the series, I think there's a lot of room for them to grow as characters.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think Alfred's going to die. That's
It's
just
possible.
my honest opinion. They could do anything because they can, but I don't think that's going to happen, especially this early. Maybe in the third film. Actually, I don't even know how many movies they're going to do, but I could see like doing 2 or 3 movies and then killing off Alfred after he's been fully established, and then they want to do something else.
They better, in my opinion, they better hang on to this one.
Yeah.
And Pattinson's young.
Yep.
And they better write the next 5 or 6 films.
Yeah.
And say, this is
How
what we're going to do.
Would it be to build this universe?
Yeah, it really would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even care
That's where
if
DC has missed it.
I don't even care if it's just Gotham. Like, I think it would be fun.
Did you watch that?
Yeah, it was an interesting show.
I watched.
Repetitive. It's
Did
kind of
it?
like Smallville to me,
Okay.
where it's a good series, but sometimes like the storylines got a little repetitive.
Okay, I watched probably 5 or 6 episodes of the first season.
It gets better. It's
Does
hard.
it?
It's one of those
Okay.
things that it gets better as you watch more of them. But then you have to watch more of them, and does it really connect? And at what point do you just give up? I would say it's a very good show. It does a good. Sure. It's one of my going back to the Penguin. I love the Penguin in that TV show.
Anyway, yeah,
it's so good.
There's just so much to this.
If they could just build the world of Gotham,
yeah,
there are so many characters they could draw from. Like for a sequel, I'm really hoping they do something with like Hugo Strange or Victor Zsasz. Victor Zsasz is a serial killer who marks on his skin how many people he's killed.
Yeah, that
would be super. Again, I don't like thrillers. It's not my favorite thing in the world. Like it's well known. I was intense more than like when the Riddler first popped up in that first scene.
Sure, that
was creepy. But again, it was Batman, so I was like, I don't even care.
The thing though about that is, did Matt Reeves actually call it a horror?
He's more of a thriller. He definitely had a mind of a thriller. I don't know his exact words.
Okay, there was something I thought he said this was more along the lines of a horror.
Okay,
I'd have to look it up. Yeah, I don't know, but I was like thriller, sure, but horror, no. Yeah, exactly.
It was always raining. Did you notice that?
I did, and so I looked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like it was filmed in Seattle.
Yeah. They did that because of the water scene at the end.
Yeah.
So they wanted it to look like the flooding made sense. That's what I read.
Okay.
Like that was planned out. So like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
They could have done it. If it was, again, if it's a dam, that's
I know. That's what I
city.
thought too. And so the idea was, I guess, is the rain was evil. The water was evil. Was part of the
symbolic.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, but yeah,
wash away the sins of the city.
Could be, but that was interesting. They did that was purposeful.
Okay. I don't normally notice things like that.
Yeah,
so when I notice when I notice things, it's like this must be happening a lot because I'm an oblivious person. I will tell you that over and over. My wife will repeat that. I don't notice things. But it was ironically, I think, a very gothic Gotham.
Yes.
Which is not good or bad.
Yeah.
For me, what I liked is they kept the theme consistent.
They did. Yeah, for sure.
So it would have been one thing if, like, you see the Wayne Manor was a gothic. That was, like, one of the first scenes that we see. It was like, oh, they're really going to this realm. And then you see the church. Yep. Same theme. I really like that they kept it and not had a bunch of, like, this is here, this is there, and there's no consistency. So I'm glad they did that, and it made sense. Again, he was more of a dark character. Have we talked about the long hair?
We did a little bit at the beginning.
Oh yeah, because we talked about Locks of Love.
Yeah.
So it made sense with like the emo side of like it's dark in Gotham. I mean, I like too that Carmine Falcone, his place was a little bit more luxurious.
Yeah.
And didn't have that style, but that made sense because he was a mob boss.
Right. What'd you give it?
I gave it a 4.6.
Okay. I'm a 4.7 because of...
Iceberg Lounge was the only other thing I was going to mention.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
I just liked it.
Yeah. You probably like the down below.
Yeah, I liked that it was like under the cities. Yeah. And then like I liked the dynamic shift of it was kind of like a ratty area on the outside, but then you got on the inside and you got this huge... It was like, for me, like almost like a red dress in the sense of like it was not pretty on the outside, but on the inside it was really flashy and you got the whole room. Yeah.
For sure. I gave it a 4.7 because there was the consistency.
Yeah.
So all locations, there's a lot of locations.
There were.
They looked like they belonged together.
Yeah.
Because they were in the same city.
Right.
Which doesn't necessarily mean anything because in the same city there's a lot of different things. However, I liked that.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that they had the different, and they do this in quite a few of the Batmans throughout, but that they had, the more highfalutin type things, all the invitation to the funeral type thing, and
like his like hidden
belows.
nature. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was really cool. So those locations all kind of really played to that part of it.
Yeah.
But they all looked consistently like they belonged together.
You knew what level you were at of like, are we in the sewers? Are we here? Are we here? Solomon Grundy. Oh, wait, no, that was it. I was watching. Nope. I've been watching a lot of Batman this week. I watched The Longest Halloween, which is
Okay.
partly based off of this, but the Riddler isn't in that. But
Sure.
again, Carmine Falcone plays a huge role.
So cinematography, I'm gonna say it's gonna win awards for cinematography. I think. I mean, I thought
there were a lot of things to look at.
Yeah, I think they did a really, really good job.
How they did the cards.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. But I gave it a 4.5, and I mean, maybe it doesn't deserve a 4.5. It probably deserves a little bit higher than that. But there was a few things that I just didn't like. One of them was where the spoiler, he saves the day, saves a bunch of people. He being Batman.
No,
I know.
way.
And he
Tell me more.
jumps and grabs a hold of the electrical wire.
Oh yeah.
I just didn't like the way that looked.
No. But can I tell you what I liked about his suit? Actually, you can keep going. I won't interrupt you.
No, that was going to be the last. That really knocked it down for me. I didn't like the way that whole thing looked, I guess. I didn't think they did a great job.
What I liked, not about that scene, but going to his suit, like when he was shot, I liked you could see the electrical, like whatever currents, shockwaves, I probably would be the most applicable term to what was going on.
Yeah.
I thought that was really, I don't understand how his suit worked at all. They don't explain it in any sense.
No.
Which hopefully I really hope they go into it. I really like understanding his gadgets.
Yeah.
I didn't like, again, going more alongside the story. Maybe it's spoiler, maybe it's not. He gets shot and he's on the ground.
Batman gets shot?
Yeah. By a villain. It's insane. But then he has to like induce himself with adrenaline.
Yeah.
I didn't fully understand that. I understood that he was down, he needed something, but the adrenaline thing just seemed kind of cheesy.
It was a little bit.
There was no context. They didn't, like, it would have been one thing to me of like, had he prepped that, or like if they had shown like, I don't know. I just wish there was more context with some of the stuff that he had.
Yeah. Hopefully as time goes in different films, they will, but yeah.
I went into a deep dive of where they could have explained the serum was like the same thing that they'll end up using for Bane, which was interesting. I did a lot of...
Yeah, I don't know if I buy that, but...
Well, he got super aggressive and powerful.
Oh, right, but adrenaline does that.
Right. But we don't know what the serum is, or whatever it is, so it was just interesting. It was something I read, and it was green.
I don't... It's possible, but I think if they do that, that's a little bit too tacky and obvious.
Yeah.
But...
my thoughts on the cinematography, again, I liked the shots of the sound waves, or it's not sound waves, the shock waves. Mm-hmm. The thing I didn't like, and I talked about this earlier, some of the scenes were drawn out too long.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, again, you can see in the trailer, so it's really not a spoiler, of when he catches the penguin, and he's just kind of walking down the highway. Like, that scene could have been cut in half.
Oh, totally.
And then the scene you were talking about at the beginning could have been cut down in half. Like, there was a lot of times where I understand the suspense they were building, and then again, being more of a suspense film, maybe that's the best word for it. It wasn't, besides just thriller. Like, there's parts where it makes sense of, like, again, when you first see the Riddler and it's kind of a drawn out scene, it made sense because it was like he was focused on this, and all of a sudden you turn and you see the Riddler.
Right.
That makes sense. It doesn't make sense when you're really not building up towards anything.
Yeah. No.
And again, with the penguin scene, you knew exactly what he was going to do. Like, he was just grabbing the penguin out of the car.
Yeah.
It would have been another thing if then it led to a fight scene. Like, he was like led up to that moment, and all of a sudden, like, there was a twist. But there was no twist.
Right.
It was just what it was.
Right.
But I also gave it a 4.5 because a lot of the other stuff was so good. Again, I wish there was more context going into the gadgets, and I hope they do that more. But when he pulled off the symbol off of his chest and it worked as a knife, thought that was cool. I liked the shockwaves. I thought there was a lot of things that made a lot of sense for the film. I liked the simplicity of Catwoman. They didn't like, it was just a mask and whatever, so it was really easy for her to slip in and out of it. I will say Batman was slightly pervy when he was first meeting Catwoman. I was like, why? Spoiler, for children. Actually, you should never take your children to this movie yet.
You
It's
definitely
PG-13, but it's borderline
I have
R.
no idea how it was a PG-13.
Yeah, I think it could have gone R and just gone more into it, because I agree. I think it should have been rated R anyway. But that being said, that was a whole side tangent, because that's more of actor chemistry. But yeah, I thought that scene was a little weird of when you see Catwoman putting on her suit. I was like, all right, this again drawn out too long.
Yeah,
you didn't need all that information.
Yeah.
I really like the Penguin. It's crazy the transformation that he went through.
Yeah.
And how well he was able to act through it.
Yeah.
And it worked well.
Yeah.
Carmine Falcone was the only one that was like, his character didn't fully fit. He didn't really feel incredibly menacing, like his character I think was supposed to be.
He was, but he very methodical.
Yeah.
Very well planned out.
Yep.
Just never lost it.
Yeah, he was cocky.
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
So I gave it a 4.3.
Okay. Fair amount lower than what I gave it. I gave it a 4.7.
Okay.
Because I thought they did enough original things.
Yeah.
But keeping it.
I did not like Bruce Wayne's character at all.
Sure.
That really detracted a lot of points for me. I guess I didn't mention that. I don't like emo Batman. Whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
I hope he gets a haircut. I hope my thought was that hopefully he matures further as he gets onto year 3, year 4, maybe year 6 of like mattering how fast time progresses in this universe. I'm hoping that he matures and gets a haircut and gets more professional as Bruce Wayne, because that was part of his persona, is that he is a public figure still. He didn't seem to me to be a public figure besides he showed up for a funeral.
Right. And I think that is part of the healing that he's trying to do and go through. And we'll see how that develops. But I guess for me, they wanted to show that pain and how he still suffers.
But he can't show it to Alfred.
Right. Yeah.
I guess going on a whole other tangent, I also liked the Thomas Wayne and Martha Waynes, that they were not golden figures. Like, they kind of had a shady past. It made sense.
Is shady the right word? So what they tried to bust him for, though, seemed pretty like normal life, like mental health in the family, issues they had, Yeah. So it didn't seem like it was like scandalous as far as like, or evil or anything like that. It was just like they were trying to make it into a bigger thing.
Right. Well, I guess what I'll say is I'm glad they were more humanized.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it for me. Like,
because I think a lot of times in the past films, like, it was fully keeping the legacy of the Wayne name, but like there was a lot of personal vendetta for Bruce Wayne's character in this one too.
Yeah, that was interesting.
It was terrifying.
It was. They did
very tense.
A great job. 4.5.
Yeah,
I gave it.
That's what I gave it to.
Did you?
Yeah. I was listening to today though, and they do like dun 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 blah, and then there's a space, and typically they'll do another blah, like blah, like they'll do some like musical stuff in the middle, and then it's another big blah. So mentally, like, I used to be in jazz, or I was in jazz band from 5th to 6th grade. Very small period of time of my life,
and young,
very young. Couldn't pay attention to a fly. Or I probably paid attention to a fly too well compared to what my teachers were talking about. Anyways, that being said, like, I was thinking it was really funny because in those middle sections, it reminded me of like, oh, they're going to do a random scat where they're just playing random music, and then it's another blah. But I really liked it. It was funny to me. And when I was watching the film, I never thought that. I was just listening to the soundtrack out of context of the film. Right. And so I was like, this is kind of funny if you were like, just listening to it by itself.
Yeah.
4.8.
We're tied.
Yeah. Here's what's amazing to me about Man, and I could talk about all day. I could watch any of the Batmans over and over.
Yeah.
I really could do it on repeat cycle. Even the campy ones of like Batman and Robin. Arnold Schwarzenegger being these cheesy and throwing out these cheesy lines. Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, they have a place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they totally have a place.
I have the whole Adam West. I have the original Batman.
Really?
I'm working on getting through them. I haven't watched them all because they're on DVD, and so it takes a little bit more time than just streaming because I'm lazy. I grew up on the animated Batman.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
It was so good.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I love that. But any of the live, even just going live action, I could watch them over and over. And it's amazing to me because each series is quite a bit different. It's a different Batman, but they're all good.
Yeah.
Like Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, like they're all good Jokers.
Yeah.
And even like Tommy Lee Jones when he was playing Two-Face and Jimmy Carrey. Again, I would classify as that campy, but it was still a good film at the time. I don't think it was classified as that at all.
I think they were trying to, the animated series, I think they were trying to like keep up with that.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Well, the music was the same.
Yeah.
Which is odd.
Yeah.
Danny Elfman, phenomenal.
Yeah, so
It was a
overall
3-hour
rating.
film.
What's that?
It was a 3-hour film, but it did not feel like that.
Right. So many points, and I'm still doing the emotional score. But a 4.9.
Our overall score.
Yeah.
Okay. One other thing I'll mention.
No, time's up. Shut the cameras off.
Maybe I
no,
shouldn't
don't do
say
it.
this because it's a spoiler-ish.
Cut him off.
It's a spoiler, but it's not because it here has no big impact. It doesn't affect the story. But when they introduced the Joker,
Okay.
I thought that was stupid.
Really stupid.
I thought it was. So
I
dumb.
wanted to just not even talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I needed to talk about it because
I
think
hope
it's
that they
so
redo that
dumb.
when
I
they-
agree. He was supposed to have another scene, but
Okay.
even still, I do not want unless they're introducing all these other villain characters. Like I understand the thrill of the Joker, and he's the main nemesis to Batman. I fully understand that. My issue is there are so many different Batman villains that haven't been explored or been given the opportunity that I think would fit so well with the series.
Yeah.
Agree, and I agree that the Joker could do well in this type of series, in this type of movie, because it is quite a bit different. I just wish they didn't have to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it felt like. It was just a random scene where it wasn't random. I mean, it made sense, but at the same point, they could have had Two-Face. They could have had they could have legitimately had any other character, and I would have been Hugo Strange. I would have been satisfied with anybody else.
Yeah.
Was not happy about that. But again, it was 5 seconds. So I just wanted to talk about that because I think it's stupid. And let me know if you think it's stupid. But I couldn't handle it.
Yeah. Not
The
good.
storyline was incredibly enticing. That's why the overall entertainment. It's a whole different story than it's ever been explored, at least on the live film for Batman.
Right.
And I gave the overall score 4.7.
I know they had to do that to introduce the Joker. I know that was needed, and I know that they're not going to have whatever actor that was. I didn't even look.
He was in The Eternals.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. Barry Keoghan or something like that.
Okay. I'm pretty certain they're not going to use him in the next one. I mean, maybe.
Well, we were talking about earlier, like tying people up for long-term contracts. So
Right.
what's the point of introducing someone if that character is...
Yeah, but
like,
they
why
don't-
would he do that?
You
if there isn't
could
gonna be
totally,
long-term?
though,
You could recast.
totally recast. I mean, easily recast.
Right.
So there's that.
There is that.
But it was very disappointing how they did that. It was not disappointing. It was dumb.
It was stupid.
Just dumb.
Could have had any other character. Any. And I would have been fine.
Yeah, totally.
Scarecrow would have been another option.
Yeah.
I could just keep throwing him out. Not the Joker.
Throughout the end.
Throughout the end. I just like the Batman. It's different. It's good. And again, I don't like suspense films, but this did a very good job. And here's why I like DC over Marvel. It gets gritty. It gets dark, and they're not afraid to go into that. And because of that, I think they can dive into deeper stories.
Yeah. That makes sense. Thanks for joining us. Let us know what you think.
Hammer that smash and like button.
Hammer the share button. Go ahead and hammer out a comment to us. Go ahead and hammer the like button. Go ahead and hammer the subscription button. Go ahead and hammer the notification bells, because you know what? That's the best way you can support us. We appreciate it.
Okay, so I'll see you later, huh? I'll give you a call.
So it's done.
It's done.